Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa. Guten Morgen, it's the big day. We have it. England versus Germany. Are you excited? We are. We're absolutely revved up here, hoping that we can beat the Germans. Will we? I don't know. It's going to be a tough game, isn't it? But isn't it ironic? You look at Gareth Southgate and you think this is the guy that missed a penalty against the Germans in '96, Euro 96. And here we are in Euro 2020. And yet it's 2021. And you know, we're in the knockout stages. It's exciting and also intriguing, isn't it? And especially when you look at last night with France, goodness me, what a strange tournament it's turning out to be, but really entertaining and really exciting. So how are you today? If you're wondering what I'm ranting on about and why I'm here, good morning to you. This is Ken at 10. We broadcast daily about all things property and whatever's going on in the world, really. Just bang everything to rights and then off we go again. So we're estate agents, James Alexander Estate Agents, based in southwest London, an area called Norbury, which has Croydon to the south and Streatham to the north. Talking about property, interesting times. We now have just a few days left now. I mean, literally 2 days before the end of the remaining stamp duty relief. Once again, I'd like to reiterate, the benefit is 12,500, not 15,000, because we still have the extra benefit available until the end of September, and that's worth 2,500. In terms of activity growth and what's going to go on, we spoke yesterday about, you know, what's going on with the international markets and how they've all boomed, apart from India and Spain. Spain because it's a tourist market mainly, and India for obvious reasons. But the rest of the world has actually boomed on the back of the pandemic. And that's quite fascinating, isn't it? So it's not just about the stamp duty holiday. For sure, this is different. I'll give you a quote now from Zoopla. This is from Grain Gilmore, and she's the head of research at the Zoopla Property Group, massive PLC group that have intensive research on the subject. And she says, the stamp duty holiday boosted demand in the housing market. However, buyer demand remains elevated despite the initial holiday ending, signalling that once in a generation reassessment of home has further to run this year. The total stock of homes for sale remains below historical norms, and this will underpin pricing amid higher demand. At the same time, lower stock availability may also constrain potential activity, especially for buyers looking for family houses. And I would echo that. Even so, she says, we forecast that this year will be one of the busiest for the housing market since the global financial crisis, with 1.5 million residential transactions. Interesting stuff. Another couple of things on housing. The house price spike is driving properties into higher tax brackets. This is where the Zoopla have said that the average time it takes to sell a property is nearly halved, and prices have increased by an average of £10,200. And this is putting them into higher stamp duty tax brackets on many occasions, meaning that there's going to be a higher stamp duty liability. Again, that's a win for the government, isn't it? On top of that, we've got people saying that the house prices are driving a surge in inheritance tax advice. And this is an interesting one. So older people like myself, those with less hair and grey hair like me, are thinking, hang on a minute, with all this property wealth going around, we better get some advice on, you know, what's going on. And new figures from HMRC show that inheritance tax receipts in April to May 2021 were 966 million, which is 340 million higher than the same period last year, due in part to an increase in the value of many people's homes. Financial advisors say significant increases in property values may mean that more estates will nudge past the threshold where inheritance tax is due without them realizing it. According to the Open Work Partnership, which is a network of financial advisors, and by the way, of course, this is not financial advice, there was a 38% increase in demand for advice on inheritance tax planning in the last year, with more than 1 in 10 clients wanting to discuss it. Of these, 43% pointed to rising property prices as one of the reasons for seeking advice. Interesting analysis now in the Times on Help to Buy. This is from a new analysis which shows the government received a 232 million return. £232 million return on the investment from the first 49,000 equity loans issued under Help to Buy. The scheme was launched in 2013 and more than 300,000 home buyers have used it to buy a newly built home. The Home Buyers Federation found that 49,000 loans have been fully redeemed by March, with £2.481 billion of repayments on loans, with the original value of £2.249 billion received. So that's interesting. Help to Buy has helped the government. I'm not sure how much it helps borrowers. I've said many times before that the problem with Help to Buy in the past, up until this point where they're underwriting the first-time buyer loans, is that it just increases the price of new build houses. And that's a real barrier for first-time buyers anyway. But still, it's interesting. Another interesting article today from The Telegraph, and this is about the return to interest-only mortgages. For those of you as old as me, you'll remember that there was one stage. Whenever I say this, people say, really, did that really happen? When you could borrow 125% of the value of the property via the Northern Rock of all people. Yes, that's right. You could borrow the whole amount of the property value plus 25%, so you could buy a new car or maybe a new kitchen in your house. It's extraordinary to think that now, isn't it? But that really happened. And now, as the market picks up, so what happens is lenders regain confidence in the sector and they start to offer deals that they would never previously have imagined. And now homeowners have turned their attention to interest-only mortgages. These weren't available at all before the pandemic. And lenders have relaxed the rules on these controversial loans. There's been a significant rise in demand for interest-only deals, according to the broker Private Finance. Again, of course, not financial advice. In September 2020, Coventry Building Society reintroduced the deals. Several large lenders have since done similar, including Barclays, Metro Bank, and NatWest. There are 220 interest-only deals today, compared with just 185 in 2019, according to Money Facts. Well, that's really interesting, isn't it? And it just goes to show that when it comes to mortgages, people will find inventive ways to try and make affordability better. And of course, if you're not repaying the initial capital, then it makes those mortgage payments that much cheaper. So it can make a significant difference, and it can make perhaps your mortgage payments more akin to what you're paying in rent, for instance, or even lower. So that's really interesting. Another article I saw in the Times was Crest. Colleagues have headed to a modular builder, and this could be the future, couldn't it? Crest Nicholson has become a financial chief. This is Patrick Bergen has become the finance chief at modular house builder Like Homes. I think it's Ilk Homes, actually. And the new job will reunite Bergen with his former boss, Stephen Stone from Crest, who joined Ilk's board as a non-executive director. Well, this is interesting because modular building seems to be the thing of the future. And I think we'll see this more and more. It's really about floating the business from what I can see. So Ilk sold about 200 homes during 2020, expects to build another 700 this year before getting up to 1,500 in 2022. Its order book stands at 200 million. Economy now. The economy grew at more than estimated pre-pandemic. The Office for National Statistics data published yesterday shows the UK economy grew more strongly than previously thought, with GDP up 1.7% on 2019. I mean, it all points to quite an optimistic future. And I am optimistic. I'm an optimist anyway, by the way, just to pre-qualify that. But I do believe, it's looking good for the UK property market, looking stronger for the year. Saddened when you see people like Boris, says he sacked Hancock. I mean, let's face it. They're both philanderers, aren't they? And for Boris to say, oh, well, you can see we put someone else in the post straight away, implying that he sacked Hancock, which he clearly didn't. I mean, it's just cynical in the worst way, isn't it? But, that's who they are. And I suppose they didn't claim to be cleaner than clean, did they? And that's certainly the case. Nonetheless, it is where we are. So looking forward to the Euros this evening, looking forward to a busy day today, just about to go into a teleconference with someone about a property that we're renting, lots of interest in that. And we're talking about rent guarantee, which is a subject that's close to a lot of landlords' hearts right now, I know, with the pandemic and the ending of the furlough scheme. So many landlords are worried that it might well be the case that some tenants start to default. And what insurance do they have and what backing do they have against that? So having a chat about that. Then we've got some inspections to do, and I'm going to run away a little bit early today so I can cheer on England in the Euros, Euro 2020 and 2021. Seems strange to me that. Led by Gareth Southgate, who missed a penalty. It just seems mind-blowing, doesn't it? Anyway, I hope you're having a great day so far. We'll be back same time tomorrow with another Ken at 10. Until then, stay safe, look after your family and friends, and enjoy the England win tonight, he said, hopefully.